Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's National Handcuff Day, Tony. Have you ever been handcuffed?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Handcuffs hurt. I prefer silk scarves.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah.
They don't leave a mark, silk scarves.
No.
You've never been handcuffed.
I have never been handcuffed.
I mean,
you've never been handcuffed.
No.
So there you go. What have we done wrong in our lives?
Dearth of experience on this show.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the USA faces Canada on the ice. Lionel Messi scores in frigid conditions.
Go.
And what will get the NBA's biggest stars to warm up to the All-Star game? But we begin today with the Spurs expecting Victor Wembanyama to miss the rest of the season after discovering a blood clot in his right shoulder. The official diagnosis is a deep vein thrombosis, which can have serious consequences, but the team believes this is an isolated issue. Wilbon, what is your reaction to this?
Several, Tony, but the first one was just a downer. You know how much I love watching Victor Wembanyama. It could have been a game in November or December or January that was relatively meaningless. I just like watching him, his development, his growth, this sort of, I hate to use the word freakish, but this singular unicornish nature of him physically and his talent, all of that. And the progress he was making. And now, you know, he's going to have 2 months at least lopped off his second season. Okay, it's not the end of the world, but I mean, you know, Chris Bosh had something similar. And I'm familiar with thrombosis because my father suffered from it. And it can take you out, particularly 20 and 30 and 40 and even 10 years ago when Chris Bosh was diagnosed. And there have been
his career was cut short.
His career was cut short.
Yes, it was.
And so now I'm hoping that medical and technological advancements will lead us to a place where Victor Wembanyama is not as affected as so many people over previous generations. But it's a downer right now.
So I'm not a medical doctor, and I don't know how serious this is. But Victor Wembanyama does not have what we would call an ordinary body. He is 7'5",
whatever. Yeah.
And the exertion that he puts that body through, being a professional athlete, changes a lot of these equations, it seems to me. So I have no idea what this prognosis is. He is on the verge of becoming a great basketball player. He has a skill set that we have not seen before. I want to get these numbers right. He played 71 of 82 games last year, and he played 30 minutes a game. So far this year, he played 46 of 52, 33 minutes a game. So even though he appears to be thin, he appears to be durable as well. This is not Joel Embiid. This is not Kawhi Leonard. He has been out there, right? His numbers at this point are absolutely wonderful. I don't think you could ask any more of him than he has given in the past season and a half or whatever it is. But I also thought, Mike, when they got De'Aaron Fox, that they were setting up that team for the next 10 years with Fox and Wembanyama. Wembanyama's averaging 24 points this year, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 blocks. He's been tremendous.
Amazing.
And so I worry.
Let me just go back for a second to, again, what has happened now versus 30 years ago. Oscar Thompson, Brandon Ingram have been diagnosed with the identical thing, something very similar. Back on the court after missing about 5, 6, 7 months. So it's not overnight. But if that was the diagnosis, and if they could hold true to that timeline, wouldn't we be pretty happy?
Yeah.
We would be.
Yeah.
Want to see him out there.
Yeah.
Really do.
Let's move to tonight's final of the Four Nations face-off in hockey. The United States team will play the Canadian team in Boston. Just 5 nights ago, the United States team beat Canada 3-1 in Montreal in a game characterized by 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. Wilbon, what do you expect to see tonight?
Tony, I guess I expect to see a great game. I'm not going in with expectations. I'm going in with curiosity. And I don't want to see the fighting. And I don't have people on this network I've talked about, and we can't wait to see the fight. No, I don't want to see the fight. I want to see great hockey. Because if I know one thing, if it was the NBA, those same people would not be saying, I can't wait to see the fighting. They wouldn't say that. So I got other issues to set aside. But I don't know what we're going to see. I want to see another great game. I mean, there's been built up now, and the intensity's been talked about. And I believe that will be there. That doesn't necessarily guarantee a great athletic contest. But something that matters is at stake here, and I'm curious to see what happens.
Yeah, so I I don't think we will hear the American anthem booed tonight in Boston.
No.
I think people will stand up and sing their lungs out.
And I hope we don't boo Canada.
This is the next thing.
I hope we don't.
I don't know if there will be a retaliation for what happened in Canada and people will boo the Canadian anthem, and I hope not.
Yeah.
Might happen, but I hope not. I don't think we will see the Kachuk brothers fighting
in the first 9 seconds.
Before it starts, before the puck is dropped.
But there's none of that.
But I think it's possible. I think it's possible we will see someone on the Canadian team instigate a fight. I think that's possible. I am now in anything is possible mode because I am very excited for this game. And you know I'm not a hockey guy. I'm very excited for this. I can't recall an anticipation of a game like this in a long time, including for me an Olympic game. What it reminded me of was in 2018, the Washington Capitals were in the Stanley Cup Finals, which they won, by the way. And it was in June. And they had these outdoor viewing parties that just popped up all over the city. And it was tremendously exciting. And I sort of feel that kind of excitement with this game tonight.
Well, sometimes things drop out of the sky.
Yes.
And this has. And organically, those are the things that give you a surprise and spark your curiosity.
We can't stress this enough. It's an invented game.
Yeah.
It's an exhibition game.
Yeah.
It doesn't count for everything, but Mike, it feels like it counts for everything.
No,
it feels like it counts for everything at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, it's exciting.
Curious to see it.
I hope the NBA pays attention to this.
They're not paying attention.
Hope they do.
They're not paying attention. But they're not paying attention. Let me just say that.
They could have this.
Am I going to have to wake you? Am I going to have to ring your phone?
Yes, do that.
Start of the third period?
Start of the third. Call the house.
Fair enough.
Maybe Chessie will answer. Chessie's my dog.
The ratings, speaking of, for the NBA's All-Star Game competition were down 13% from last year. Surprised it wasn't more. Longtime NBA center Brendan Haywood, who you and I know fairly well, has a theory as to why the event has been struggling. He told the Triple Threat podcast, quote, "The face of the league sets the temperature. Michael Jordan set the standard because the standard was set before him, with guys like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. You know when the quality of the All-Star game really started going down? When Kobe Bryant retired. He held up the standard. No one's running with it right now. Everybody's running from it, and that is the problem," close quote. Tony, leadership issue. How do you feel about what Brendan Haywood said?
Yeah, so I agree with and I'll get to that in a second, but I think two things have to be said first. One is that Brendan Haywood spent 13 years in the NBA. He never once made an All-Star game. So I think it's fair, if you don't like his comments, to say, well, does he have the credentials to make this comment? Secondly, what a shot this is at LeBron James. When you say the face of the league, LeBron James has been the leading face of the league for 15 years at least.
Steph Curry?
No, LeBron James.
Kevin Durant?
No, they're there. LeBron James. This is a complete shot at him. And I think it's worth mentioning that he didn't play in the All-Star game a couple of days ago, and he was a late scratch. Do I think that it's possible that leadership has something to do with it? Because the game stinks, okay? Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. This is possible. And who are the leaders? And you just named them. There's LeBron James, there's Steph Curry, and there's Kevin Durant. Is it possible they don't care about it the way that they should? Yes, it's possible that that's true. I also think that we have so many great foreign players now, foreign-born players, who did not grow up with this All-Star game. I don't know what it means to them. I don't know that they can be asked to take the lead in this. And yet, the last 6 MVPs in the league is a combination of Jokic and Antetokounmpo and Embiid. So you're in this situation where I understand what Brendan Haywood is saying, but boy, it's a shot at LeBron.
Every syllable that came out of Brendan Haywood's mouth is right on the money. I don't care who the face is.
But you do think it's
the leadership of the whole thing. I'm not going to sign it all to LeBron. And I love you. I love watching these guys play. I'm going to weep when they retire.
Yeah,
all three of the ones we mentioned.
Great players.
Okay? Mm-hmm. This is true. The All-Star game stinks.
Yeah, it's no good.
It embarrassed the commissioner of the game last year, but he does not have the power, the leverage to get the players to play hard. And those players want the viewers and the patrons and the networks to care more about what they do than they care. That's garbage. And it moved to garbage.
Yeah.
And I know some ex-players who played in more than a dozen. I'm going to mention one to you. I'm not going to say his name because these were off-the-record conversations. And he said to me, this is the first time in 40 years I'm not going to the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste my time. That's an indictment. Brendan Haywood gave voice to it. He gets paid to give an opinion now. He does it very well to me. This was crystal clear, and he nailed it.
Do you think that Brendan Haywood is at the lower end at his age, like 45, 46, whatever he is, going all the way up to 60, of a generation that looks at LeBron with a certain amount of skepticism? Because LeBron has gone from team to team to team to better himself, and they couldn't do that. Didn't do it, couldn't do it.
You know what? That's a fair and interesting point. I hear you.
That's what I wonder.
But I don't think it's fair to just lay all this at LeBron's feet. I don't believe
that. LeBron's feeling it was laid at his feet. Face of the league. He's tried to be the face of the league. Let's take a break. Coming up, the United States faces off with Canada again in a couple of hours. Should we expect more fighting from the start?
Hope not.
We're going to ask PK Subban.
You don't need that. Seriously. We'll also ask him how much home ice matters in games of this magnitude.
Brendan Haywood's very good on television.
Yes, he is.
He's very good.
He is. I like listening to Brendan Haywood.
But I got to give a balance. Let's get back into tonight's battle between Canada and the United States in the Four Nations face-off with our great friend ESPN hockey analyst, PK Subban. Let's start with this. You've said don't be surprised if the teams fight again in the first minute tonight. You played this game. From a strategic point of view, why would you do that?
Well, it's a chess match. So, we saw it on Saturday in the first game, Canada-U.S., and U.S. set the tone. We go all the way back in history. Every time Canada's met U.S., this team was built so that they would not be pushed around. But this is also a skilled team, an elite team, a team with elite talent and players that are hungry, and we're seeing that all come together. They've built this team extremely well, and the USA hockey program has done a great job developing players. So, I think that Team USA wanted to answer the bell and come right into this tournament and punch Canada in the mouth, and they did. But give the Canadians credit. They got an undersized team. They're not bigger than the USA team. They're not. They're a smaller team. Brandon Hagel, the way he stood in there and fought, all the guys, the way they stepped up, amazing to watch. And I expect to see it boil over again today. Whether it's fights, whether it's physicality, whether it's hits, whether it's scrums after the whistle, it'll all be there tonight, guys, starting at 8.
Let's zero in for a second on Charlie McAvoy, PK, because, we want to hear how big a loss you think that will be for the U.S. team tonight specifically. But then going forward, if he has a prolonged absence, is that going to affect the way guys feel about this competition?
No. And I think that that first game, Canada-U.S., the first game in this tournament was awesome, but that Canada-U.S. game really showed what the players are here for. Hockey is a game that is played with purpose, with passion. You got to leave it all out there. It's not the same game if you don't play that way, and the players take pride in it. Remember this, Wilbon, this is not just NHL players out here. These are the best players in the world. This is truly best on best. So these guys are all in. They've been all in since they were 2 years old. They're not taking their foot off the gas. We got the Olympics next year in Italy in 2000. We got the World Cup in 2028. This matters. A lot of these guys haven't even played in an NHL playoff yet. So they want to have those opportunities. They want to carve their path. They want to be Sidney Crosby. They want to be the McKinnons. They want to be McDavids. They look up to these guys. And for Team USA, they're looking across the ice from them on the biggest stage. This is a hell of an opportunity for a lot of these young players. And, for them, I don't think any of them are going to look at that's a part of the game. It can happen anytime, and they accept that. You accept that playing in the National Hockey League.
First game was in Montreal. Tonight it's in Boston. We see teams win on the road, even big games in the playoffs all the time. Do you see there being a decided advantage for the U.S. team playing in Boston tonight?
Well, definitely the energy is going to shift. It's definitely going to shift. And, for Team USA, it could also work against them. Like I said, they got a lot of players in that locker room that haven't played, haven't been in a Stanley Cup final yet, haven't made it to the Stanley Cup playoffs yet. So, that can bring some jitters as well. But what Montreal tells me, it's not going to matter for either of these teams. These teams want to get it on. They don't care whether they're playing in Boston, Montreal, or Timbuktu. These guys are willing to fight and lay it all on the line no matter what. But I'll tell you this. I've played in this building. I've had some big games here, played a lot of memorable games here at Montreal and Boston. This building will be absolutely rock. If they don't have the roof buttoned on, I'm telling you right now, it's going to end up on the freeway because this place is going to be rocking. I've seen it during the regular season. I've seen it in the playoffs. And now we're talking Four Nations. The whole world's watching. These players are going to blow the roof off this place. So buckle up and strap in. Mike, Tony, you guys better buckle up and strap in too and get your popcorn ready while you're at it.
So we will get you out of here on this, and this is a personal question. You are Canadian. Okay. Canada has always been the number one power in the hemisphere. How important is this? Now, they lost the last one. How important is this game to Canadian hockey culture?
Huge, huge. You know, personally for me, I want to see Canada get this thing done. I really, really do, because they need it. You look at the World Juniors, the USA took home the World Juniors. The USA hockey program has continued to grow. And if we're talking about Hockey Canada, it's been some ups and downs. It hasn't been a smooth ride the past 20 years for Hockey Canada, both on the ice, developing prospects and in these games. So yes, they've had success, but we know what the standard is for Hockey Canada. And in that time of those rocky times, a lot of these countries have closed the gap. Tony, Mike, there's only 4 teams here, but we still got Denmark, we still got Russia, we still got Slovakia, we still got so many other teams that have some great players that are going to be great competition for years to come. So for Canada, this is a massive game for Hockey Canada, huge game to send a message to still say that we're at the top of the list. And, you know, for me, my heart wants Canada to win, but with Team USA, all I'm thinking about is Guy Gaudreau and Johnny Gaudreau and how amazing it would be to see them celebrate around that and enjoy a win tonight. It'd be a special moment for USA Hockey. It'd be a special moment for the Gaudreau family and for the Kachuk brothers and everybody there.
Very well said. Thank you so much for being with us.
Enjoy tonight. We know you will.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You can catch more of PK on The Point at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the game itself at 8. Let's take one last break. Still to come, the Lakers lay an egg to start the stretch run.
They did. And the Bucks lose a big man for the next 25 games, one of my favorite players. Do I have to call you to start the third period to make sure you're awake?
I'm going to be awake for this one. No, I'm up for this one.
All right.
I am. And I'm up for this one.
It's a multi-TV night.
Happy time, people. Happy 97th birthday, Elroy Face.
Wow.
History lesson, kids. Face was the greatest reliever in baseball when he was with the Pirates. From 1956 through 1963, Face led the National League in finished games 4 different times and in saves 3 different times. In 1959, Face was 18-1 with a 2.70 ERA without making a single start. He was a 6-time All-Star. When he retired, Face was 3rd all-time in appearances as a pitcher with 848, behind only Hoyt Wilhelm and Cy Young.
Man.
Yeah, that's Cy Young. Face still holds the National League record for wins in relief, 96.
There was no just coming in to face 3 in the 9th. You stayed near as long as you needed to. And that team had Bill Mazeroski, a guy named Roberto Clemente, and a Cy Young Award winner that year, Vern Law.
Vern Law.
Yeah.
Not so happy anniversary, Zion Williamson. On this day 6 years ago, less than 1 minute into a game with North Carolina, the Duke star freshman shoe literally exploded. Zion's right knee was sprained, causing him to miss Duke's final 6 regular season games. Zion came back for the ACC tournament, helped Duke win it, and was named MVP. He was the first overall pick in the NBA draft by New Orleans. He's a great player when he plays, a career 24.7 scorer, but he is so often hurt. Zion has played in 18 of the Pelicans' 52 games. Pelicans are 4-14 when Zion plays, which is actually a worse percentage than their 9-28 when he does not.
You think the league would be better off if Zion and Ja picked 1-2 in that draft in 2019, had played up to consistently forming, been in the lineup?
I haven't played that.
Yeah.
Happy trails to last night's game for Sporting Kansas City. The team lost to Inter Miami last night in the first round of the CONCACAF Champions Cup, but the bigger story was the weather. 4 degrees at kickoff with a wind chill of 9 below. The only goal of the game was scored, of course, by Messi, whose coach Javier Mascherano said afterwards, quote, "I think it's impossible to play in these conditions. It's not human," unquote. At least when you're playing, you're running around. More than 15,000 people paid to sit in the stands and watch this.
No, Messi's not human. He's a GOAT, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it fits.
Yeah.
When you see that goal scored, just go and throw up both hands.
He's supposed to do that. Big finish if we can.
Let's do it.
The NBA suspended Bucks center Bobby Portis 25 games for taking a banned substance. Your thoughts?
Because he took tramadol, now Toreadol. At least the trainer gave it to him. Bobby Portis really important to that team. One of my favorite players in the league. Lakers lost to the Hornets last night. What stands out?
Stands out as they lost at home to a terrible
Thrilling
team.
game.
And thrilling team.
LeBron
Thrilling
at the
game.
buzzer.
LeBron missed a couple at the buzzer.
Yeah.
But Luka's not physically ready.
No.
He's not ready. The Yankees signed Aaron Boone to a 2-year extension. Okay, by you?
Let's see. Aaron Boone and the Yankees were in something we called the World Series a few months ago, right? More than all right. Juan Soto got teammate Brett Beatty a car for giving up jersey number 22. Does that make sense?
Not just a car. Okay, it's one of these Chevy Tahoes that's tricked up for $92,000,
Yeah.
which you can do when you sign for $765. Last one, U.S. women's soccer against Colombia in the She Believes Cup. You're smelling upset.
Well, apparently, like 5 of the U.S. team's best players are out.
Right.
So she's going to have, Emma Hayes can have some time to experience, to experiment with some younger players. But also, we have shut or held Colombia to no goals for 7 straight games.
So there's no upset. There's no upset. We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. And now I'm going to go out and get into my tricked up Tahoe.
Do you have one of those?
No,
Wow.
not really.
Topic.
All right, Wilbon, what will you miss most with Victor Wembanyama being sidelined?
Anticipation, Tony, because he's not a finished product. He's not anywhere near that. Right. He's just starting the process. But it's like an appetizer. On some nights now where, San Antonio's playing somebody, the game, the result doesn't matter yet to the standings and what's going to happen in April, May, June. I know that. But I just like to watch this young man develop and go. And we've seen him go from being a great young curiosity to borderline great player. And great players coming if he can be healthy and out there for years. Yeah. If he can be out there. And that's an if. You can't presume. Because you look at, now I'm going to mention real quick, Alzer Thompson and Brandon Ingram have come back from something blood clot related. Don't know if they're the exact same illnesses. And Chris Bosh had this and had to end his career earlier, but that was 10 years ago when diagnosed. So the anticipation right now is what I miss.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a case of delayed gratification. You have to wait. You don't know. He was on the verge of becoming a great player with a skill set that we really hadn't seen before. When they traded for De'Aaron Fox, you said to yourself, the next 10 years are set. De'Aaron Fox is going to bring the ball up. He's going to pass the ball to Wembanyama, maybe get it back, hit a long shot, but they're going to be fine. And in fact, Wembanyama, over the course of this year, was averaging 27 points and 11 rebounds and 4 assists and 4 blocks, which is pretty much all you could ask of a guy in his second year. Sure. So it's great, but we don't know. We thought everything was solidified, and now we don't know. You have to wait to see. He's got to get medical clearance. He's got to be able to start from where he just left off and keep going. We don't know. Don't know.
We've seen lately a couple of overall number 1 picks and 1-2 picks at the top of the draft have interruptions. Let's be kind and say that about Zion and Ja. Yeah. And not yet realizing the vast potential they came into the league with. And now you really don't want to see this for any reason with Wembanyama. That's it. We're done. Back to you.